once again to discuss things.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him two lips like roses and clover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I'm Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Rasco's Modern Life.
Howdy, everybody.
Indeed, howdy everybody, indeed. And I'm going to be making this announcement at the beginning of episodes and throughout episodes for the next couple weeks here. You can now download and listen to episodes of Geeky Gentlemen. You can download the audio onto your phones, mobile devices, whatever, iPods, blah, blah, blah. There's a link in the description where you can go to get the audio. It has it in a bunch of different formats. I finally found a place that lets you host unlimited audio without charging you. Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So you guys can... I've been looking for one forever, and I couldn't find anything that doesn't charge you. But anyway, so keep that in mind, and if you're listening to this on your phone, well, why don't you give me a call, sir? Anyway. So, what are we talking about today, Rasco?
Come on, I don't know. It's a Sandman fan film. You know the name. I knew you were gonna put it on me. I knew you were gonna tell me. I knew you were gonna want me to say the name of the fan film. I knew it.
I'd try. Yes, we were talking about a Sandman fan film called Sandman Fear of Falling. And this is unique for us because we've done a number of fan films now, but so far everything we've done have been original stories. This is the first, like, through and through adaptation that we've done.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, because I've never read Sandman.
Well, fucking hang up on me right now, go to your comic book store, buy all of it, and just don't come out of your room until you finish reading every issue of Sandman.
I gotta say, after watching this, I'm kind of inclined to start that, actually. This actually intrigued me quite a bit.
Yeah, and, like, I didn't realize this was an adaptation at first, because, like, this is the one thing I don't have of Sandman, apparently. Because this was a short story written for what a comic that came out that was called Vertigo Preview #1. And for those that don't know the history behind Sandman, it's a Neil Gaiman thing, and he got it started in the Vertigo series of books, and that was like an offshoot of DC, where they were wanting to do more adult-oriented, independent kind of stuff, because they were getting criticized for taking advantage of creators back in the day, and they wanted to do something to prove that that's not how they operate. And so I'm guessing Vertigo Preview #1, because I just downloaded the Sandman part, has a bunch of different stories, short stories with the characters from that book, or from the initial run of Vertigo stuff, and Sandman was one of them, and this is that story. So yeah, it's interesting to hear that you really were impacted by this, and you now want to go read Sandman. So did you know anything about Sandman before this? Like, at all?
I knew it existed. That's it.
So you didn't even know, like, what he was or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Okay, yeah, you should just go read Sandman. I don't know why you're bothering talking to me, because Sandman's just sitting there waiting for you. Please don't leave the episode, though. I'd feel really weird just sitting here talking about this fan film on
Too bad I'm already gone.
Sandman is more often in the series called Morpheus or Dream, and he is a member of what are called the Endless, and they are embodiments of certain inescapable things in reality, and so he is the embodiment of dreams. He rules over the dreaming. He is the king of dreams, the lord of nightmares, that whole thing. some of his siblings. The most famous of his siblings is his older sister, Death. So there's, you know, the endless, and the mythology of Sandman is endlessly fascinating. And it is proper literature, so it's interesting to see this done as a fan film. Oddly enough, though, this isn't the only Sandman fan film that is a direct adaptation of this story. I found that was really weird. I was looking for the Sandman fan film. I was like, oh, I'll see if someone posted it on YouTube instead of email so I can watch it on my PlayStation. And there's like another that's like longer, but it's the exact same story. And I just thought that was kind of funny. Neither of them, I don't think, were originally in English. This one, I'm pretty sure it wasn't originally in English. I'm pretty sure the actors were speaking another language, probably Spanish, and then dubbed in English after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but I think that's what happened. And then the other one, it was all in Italian. And so that was really weird to me that two people have adapted this story and neither of them's audio was in English, at least the first time, I have to assume. Did you find that distracting at all, the fact that this was clearly dubbed in?
It is for a second, but once you, like, understand that that's the case, it's not so much, like, I don't know, you kind of just, like, get past that after a couple minutes.
Yeah, and it's weird, because, like, I'm pretty sure I don't know whether or not it was original language, English, and then dubbed after the fact, or if it was just all dubbed, and they intended to dub it. But either way, I don't like it. Either way, it bothers me, let me put it that way, because, like, if it were all English, even if you had kind of crummy audio that wasn't nearly as crisp as your dubbed audio, it would have worked better simply by the fact of it actually sounds like it was coming out of the actors' mouths. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, the female actress, that's redundant. The actress in this has one of those opening lines where she's like, "Oh, hi, Todd."
Oh, hi, Ma.
And yeah. She has that opening line, and I'm just like, it's really distracting, and I don't know, I guess it might sound better than their original audio, but I found it just too distracting.
Yeah, you're honestly actually kind of right, because I do remember when I watched it, that was the first thing I was thinking in my head. I was just thinking about the audio for a second, so you are right in that it is kind of a distracting thing, but I just kind of, like, accepted it.
Got over it, yeah, and I did too. It's because I've watched this, I think, 4 times now, and it's short enough that I can actually do that with this one. But yeah, I think that is my biggest complaint about it, is the way the audio is integrated. Because if you're going to do dubbing, you need to do a ton of takes, and you need better audio matching. Because it just sounds it sounds like it's not there, and it sounds empty, and that bothers me. You take us somewhere on this one.
So I guess for starters, I really liked, and this is a really random thing to bring up, but I really liked how they used a bit of score from Watchmen in this. I thought that was really cool. I don't know, it just really fit the, like, dreamscape really well, I thought. And there were, like, a couple shots in this that I thought were really, really cool. Like, there's this one shot where, like, the guy goes to sleep, and he, like, just kind of, like, flops onto his bed, and the way the camera follows him, it was just, I don't know, it was really cool. I don't know, I thought it was, like, a pretty well-directed fan film, for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. The shots, I love that kind of sweeping, and it slows down and then pans below the mattress, and that's where you get to him hanging onto the cliff. I really like that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and there are a couple times where I think the shot doesn't quite last long enough, particularly on the crow. Or no, wait, the raven, my bad. Shit, is it a crow or is it a raven?
It's a craven, the hunter.
Yes, it's that. I'm pretty sure it's a crow. Speaking of which, whenever I say, dude, Sandman is the greatest thing ever, people are like, really? The Spider-Man villain? I mean, he's cool and all, but...
I had that reaction.
Yeah. Oh, really? You thought it was going to be a Spider-Man villain?
Well, I remember I like asked you when you brought this up, and I was like, Spider-Man Sandman or Sandman Sandman? And then you were like, Sandman Sandman.
Well, yeah, so the Crow in this, I thought was, like, I thought some of the shots on him when the Crow was talking were just a little too quick, and that got kind of, again, it's something that stood out to me, and not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that bothered me. Also, I guess I really hate to be as harsh on this as I feel like I'm being, because I liked it so much. I didn't like the fact that Morpheus doesn't speak. He just kind of emanates his voice, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I didn't know what to like make of that because I've never read Sandman, so I'm just like, is that a thing that he just does, or I don't know, but whatever. It's kind of like I kind of just like got over all of the audio issues because I was so focused on the Watchmen score.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think the audio stands out so much to me because, like, there's this little trick or whatever you want to call it in filmmaking wherein you can actually have kind of a shitty looking thing, but if your audio is really, really good, it will fool people into thinking the final product is better than it actually is. Yeah. And the exact reverse of that is true. You can have something that looks amazing, but if your audio quality is really, really bad, no matter what you're doing, music quality, voice quality, integration, whatever, if it's really bad, it makes you focus on it more. It calls your attention to it in a way that visuals don't. And so it bothers you about the entire piece more. And I think that's why I'm so fixated on all the different audio things and why I find them unsettling. As far as Sandman, like, kind of speaking as a disembodied voice, there are maybe occasions where that happens in the comic book, but I mean, I looked at the panels from this book, and it has the little trail toward his mouth.
Yeah.
Every time he talks, so I don't think that's really what they were trying to go for. I just think they didn't want to have the Sandman actor speak for some reason.
He can't open his mouth.
Yeah, I guess. So that bothered me too, and I think I've got all my negatives out of the way. I think I'm good. Might talk a little bit about the animation sequence in a while, but I think I got all my negatives out of the way. So let's talk about what I think is the best part of this, and whether or not that's a problem with the piece. And that is the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the story here is fantastic because it's Neil Gaiman, and he's Neil fucking Gaiman. And so I feel like they did a really good job in adapting the story. And the visuals look pretty good in capturing almost everything. But I don't feel like I'm super drawn into any one performance. I think that most of them are serviceable. Mm-hmm. They didn't make their own music, they just chose something that was pre-existing. The visuals look pretty damn good, but I don't think like anything looks exceptional. I just think that's the level of technology that we're at, where it's easier to make things look that good.
Yeah, I think that there's only like one case where some of the visuals that they try don't necessarily work all the way, and that's just like the scene where at the very end, like the lightning strikes and he like falls off or whatever the fuck happens to him. Mm-hmm. It just kind of looked awkward because you could probably tell that like someone was like below him and like threw some rocks into the air, and like I don't know, it was just like the only thing where I was kind of like, yeah, it didn't look as good as it could have, but I mean, I'm not gonna really give him shit for that.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you can.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. It's just like, I feel like it's a problem that if you're gonna do an adaptation, if you're if everything else is just competent, then I guess it's a good adaptation, but it doesn't make it good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I guess my problem with this is it's a good adaptation overall, but I don't know if that makes the fan film itself good or if that's just the story overpowering everything else.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird thing because you are dealing with adaptation at that point, and it's like you'll never be able to make like the best definitive adaptation of something on a fan film budget. That's something that you kind of have to reserve for actual like studio movie budget films. That's where typically an adaptation would be done. So it's kind of a strange thing. But at the same time, it kind of feels maybe like this is what they would imagined it as a film. Like this is what they saw, and like they had like I imagine like with specifically the Watchmen music that's playing. I don't know. I feel like they had like this like thing in their head of like, oh, if you were doing this in live action, this is kind of like the atmosphere and ambiance that you would have, and like they found music to help create that. And I don't know, for like it did intrigue me enough to want to like go action. And like this is something we talked about before, where you mentioned one time we were watching that Star Trek fan film. I think it was a Star Trek fan film when we brought this up, but I said at like one point, like if I had just seen that, it wouldn't encourage me to want to go watch more. But this is a case where it succeeded at that. Like I kind of want to go read Sandman now. So I don't know, that's it's doing something right at that point. But I mean, that can just be like basic premise is really interesting based off what I just watched. So I don't know if that's them as much as it is the source material. But at the same time, I really do, and I keep bringing this up, but like I think it was just absolutely genius the Watchmen score that they used for this. It just really fitted, I thought.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they use the piece of music that's like kind of associated with Dr. Manhattan in that movie?
Yeah, it's like the music that's playing when he destroys Rorschach.
Okay. Yeah, that stuff does fit because, like, you read the comics and everything is like really super abstract. Sam Keith designed a lot of the characters and did a lot of the art. Just real briefly, so someone like read Sandman for the first time, and they like messaged Neil Gaiman on Twitter and it's like, so was it intentional to have Morpheus kind of look like you? And Gaiman actually replied to him, is like, no, Sam Keith had never met me when he first drew Morpheus, nor had he ever seen a picture of me in his entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just one of those weird little coincidences. And so there's just a very, but to your point about the score, there's a very dreamlike, abstract kind of, I don't want to say haunting, but ominous.
Yeah, I was literally about to say ominous. Like, I was literally about to say that word.
Yeah, there's something kind of just, you're always on edge, and you don't know if something good or bad's going to happen. There's no telling what's going to happen in the Sandman book, because literally anything can happen because it's all dreams. And so that kind of removed, detached, you're not really sure what's going on score does fit it. And it's a really good choice to use that. But again, I don't know if that's just good adaptation or like a really competent filmmaking choice.
Yeah, I don't know, and that is like the weird thing about this is that like we haven't dealt with like a straight up adaptation yet, so it's I don't know, we haven't like addressed this yet, so it's kind of interesting because yeah, like it really kind of depends, I guess, on like what you know about Sandman, right? Because like if I stumbled upon this and no one ever told me that it was actually an adaptation, because like when I watched this I didn't know it was an adaptation, so like I had no preconceived notions about it, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then so I don't know if that necessarily, I wouldn't feel qualified to say it's good adaptation having not read the adaptation or read the source material, right? So it's a strange thing.
Yeah, and like it's It's not a one-to-one adaptation. They clearly, you know, kind of danced around what they wanted to show you and what they wanted to do. Like Todd, when he first goes to sleep, he has like there's no narration in this. But when Todd first goes to sleep, he has narration about how strange dreams are, and how, like, one time he had a dream that he was naked and chasing a clown through his high school, but the high school was also a prison, and then somehow in the middle of the dream, he was suddenly the clown and it was his classmates chasing him. And so it's just, there's no sense to that. That's just this weirdness. And he's like, dreams are kind of otherworldly, but not this. This feels real. And that's when you get to, you know, him climbing the rock. And so it's not like it's a one-to-one, every single panel... It's not a Zack Snyder adaptation, let's put it that way. Every single panel is not put on screen here, but it's taking the meat of it and putting that on screen. And so, like, it's a really competent, really well-done adaptation overall. But I don't know if anything about it is, like... I don't know if, like... It'd be interesting to see your thoughts on the other one, because I like things about that better. They do more of the story, but not once again, not a one-to-one. But I feel like this is better than the other one, but they're both doing the same thing, so they both have the same emotional impact on me. But one, even though it's in another language, the voices are coming out of the characters' mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the film quality doesn't look as good, and they can't do... Like, it doesn't look as Hollywood, it looks more like a fan film. Because you could see this almost as a trailer for a Sandman movie, couldn't you? Like an extended scene or whatever. Whereas the other one, it looks very, you know, kids in their backyard making a Sandman fan film. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm really trying to get at here. I'm just kind of spinning my wheels.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about this, honestly. Like, I think it's pretty good, and I'm kind of interested to go find more Sandman stuff now.
And, like, I asked you before recording, but, Rascal, why don't you tell everyone what you went to go do over the weekend?
Oh, okay. So, over the weekend, I flew out to LA because I'm, at some point in the near future, probably by, like, the end of this month, I'm moving out to LA, actually. So I was looking for apartments and such, and it was pretty cool. I met a guy who was giving me a tour of the apartments, and he said that in like a week or so, he's actually giving a pitch to James Gunn for a franchise, and I don't want to say anything about it because I don't know if he would want me to talk about this, but he's actually going to give a pitch to James Gunn about a franchise.
Oh, cool. But why are you moving out to LA?
Oh, well, I guess I'm pursuing the filmmaking dream. Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to bring this up. This resonate with you in a very particular way? Because of what you're doing?
This specific fan film?
The specific story more than the fan film itself, but yes.
Oh, I mean, that's something I guess anyone who ever tries something a little bit crazy or something that requires like a lot of ambition, I'm sure, and yeah, like this is certainly a thing that I've felt and thought about before, and yeah, that it's totally, and I guess that's potentially one of the coolest things about this is that like this was a very specifically this kind of very specifically in certain ways parallels that kind of journey, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's synchronicity is one of the most interesting things I'll ever find. So I find it interesting that I pick this kind of without any context. I'm like, oh, let's see if I can find a Sandman fan film, and I do. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll pick this whenever it's my choice again, and then X number of weeks pass, and I watch it, and I pick it, and then you tell me, oh, hey, I'm moving out to LA to pursue the dream of being a filmmaker, yada yada. I'm I'm like, huh, how fucking relevant could this possibly be to his life right now?
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I find that whole mentality of how things, kind of work out to be just endlessly fascinating. Because I can't imagine I picked anything possibly more inspirational than to reassure you this is the right course of action in your life. Of, hey, it might not work out, but fucking try, because is it so bad to fail? Is it so hard to fall? I fucking love that line. Gaiman's, like, his prose and his dialogue is so fucking beautiful in Sandman that it will just have you break down. And it's like, this is that perfect example of it. If you don't climb, you will never fall. This is true. But if you do climb, is it so bad to fail, so hard to fall? And then he goes on and comes to another line, which is, sometimes you wake up, and sometimes, yes, you die. But there is a third alternative, and that is, and then he's up on the top of the mountain. I fucking love how it doesn't just give you the answer right away, it lets you see it happen. And it lets you see and feel the fear. And the fan film, even though the lightning effect and the dust kicking up did seem a little iffy, effects-wise, the emotion of that scene I feel is perfectly captured.
Yeah.
And I really like the I really like cuts to credits or cuts to titles then credits on like a particular line. Nolan does that a lot. I really like that little trope, I guess you'd call it. And this, I feel, used that really, really well. And so you get the moral of the story, sometimes when you fall, you fly, and I really, really like that about it. So yeah, the story is the most beautiful thing about this, which, I mean, good on them for choosing something that was not only achievable, but also as emotionally resonant, and as relevant to anyone who wants to do things like this. That was a very good decision on their part. And even though I've sounded really negative on this thing throughout the whole thing, on this film throughout the whole review here, I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, I would agree. It is. I mean, yeah, it's one of those ones where it's easier to talk about what doesn't work than what does, because it mostly, for the most part, all works. It's just like a few technical issues, right?
Yeah, and if they could have just anything, like even if the audio had like a buzz throughout the whole time, I've got Audacity open, you can remove that.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know what's going on with the audio. I'd be curious to hear an explanation. Filmmaker, if you're watching in the comments, please let me know what the hell was going on with that. And don't be mad at me for pointing out all the problems with your fan film that I did enjoy. Okay, I think it's time to move on to scores then. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give this 3, and I'll go ahead and give this 3.5. Okay, what am I gonna give it? I'm gonna give it 3.5 giant stone dick pillars out of 5.
I agree, that is the perfect score. The 3.5 part, not the giant stone dick pillars. I too will give it 3.5. Oh, fuck it, crows that might be ravens, because Ian can't remember what the character was in the book. I'll give it 3.5 crows that might be ravens out of 5. Because yeah, it is really good. It's a really faithful adaptation, and I think that's a unique challenge to try to do with fan films. But the technical issues are just too much for me to ignore completely, and I still feel like there's some odd choices within the fan film itself. Okay, what are we talking about next week?
Oh gosh, darn it! Okay, hold on one second. Let me find something really quick.
Oh, these are the best. These are always the best.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. Let's go with an alien fan film. I'm looking up some alien fan films. Okay. Just click on this and see how this looks. Oh, there's a stupid ad. Hold on.
It's all good. Doopa 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 doopa.
Okay, does it count if it's called Alien Isolation live action fan film, and it's on Machinima, so I don't know.
Oh wait, it's a Machinima Network fan film?
I guess I think it's a fan film that, yeah, like I don't think anyone from Machinima made it, because I wouldn't really consider that a fan film so much because they kind of have like a little bit of a studio. I think this is like an actual fan film that's just like on the Machinima channel.
Gotcha. Yeah, we can do that. That's
Alien
fine.
Isolation live action fan film. That's what it's called.
That's the title. And you're gonna remember that for next time, right?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe not.
Possibly.
Alright, cool. That should be fun. We'll get to talk about rape imagery some more. Why not?
Rape! It's
'Cause
cool! All the kids are doing it now.
You know, I've actually been recording, since Pamela kind of crapped out on me, I've been recording audio on 2 separate channels. So I have, like, my microphone recording just me, and then I have a program recording the speakers. And I say all this just to let you know that I can just take that little thing that you just said and isolate it completely with no interference whatsoever, so I can post it without any context at all.
Great!
So you're looking for a career out in Hollywood, right? Well, as we've become more socially conscious, I feel like I could just really kill all of that instantly right now. I'm just gonna, like, wait till you get, like, really, really big in Hollywood, and I'm just gonna, like, just put that clip out there of just you saying that and nothing else. And it's gonna be like, fucking Rasco Jackson thinks rape is hilarious. Boycott his films!
Yeah, you like if I ever run for president, that'll come back to bite me.
Yep. I doubt
No,
it.
I can just
There's not gonna
pull a
be
Donald
pressure.
Trump and deny it's my voice, even though it sounds just like me. It worked for him.
Did it really? I don't think it
Well,
did.
obviously not, but everyone just dropped that, so like everyone just decided to ignore the fact that that happened, but whatever.
Okay. That'll do it. Everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the
And
Philosopher.
I'm the Squampus.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.